Spookyou's frightening nights of Halloween.
Hello, my dear Franken friends, and welcome to Spookyou, your one-stop shop for all things ghastly and ghoulish. I'm your host, Barnabas Vixen, and tonight is night 3 of Spookyou's frightening nights of Halloween. Tonight and every night leading up to that spooktacular night in October, All Hallows Eve, or as you mundane mortals like to call it, Halloween. Grab those iron rods and make sure your salt circle is without flaws. We wouldn't want anything to happen to you before our grand event, would we? But Barnabas, what grand event are you talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear listener. I'm talking about Spookyou's All Hallows Eve Bash, a 24-hour radio of stories carefully curated by our wicked weavers of woe. Now mark your calendars for Halloween Day because this is a stream you won't want to miss. And who knows? Maybe you'll see yours truly make an appearance to interact with you all and answer questions. Now, before I pass the reins on over to our vivacious voiceover virtuoso, I'd like to say thank you to our title sponsor, the Scottish Hush Puppy, a fellow YouTuber based in who likes to in his free time and whose favorite food is with a side of he really is. Thank you, Hush Puppy, for your generous donation of we've got our best on the job to put it to good use. Now, listeners, shall we indulge into tonight's story?
When me and my family first moved into the house in 1994, we had no idea it belonged to someone before. We were told it had just been built and we were the first ones to stay in it. But that was a lie. I got a nice bedroom with a huge window, and from my bedroom I could practically see the entire street. Not much happened in the street, so I never really had the blinds open, but on our first night at the house, I had it open just a little because I wanted to see outside. I remember looking outside and seeing the moon, and then my dad came in to say goodnight. And then when I looked outside again, there was this cloud thing that was just floating out outside my window. It wasn't too close or too far either. I could just make out something on it. It looked like a gray balloon that had a face drawn on it. At first I wanted to call my dad back in because it was scary, but I kind of got used to it. And every night it would be there, waiting for me. I got so used to it knowing it was there, it kind of made me feel safe. And sometimes I would even talk to it. But I would never mention this to my family, though. It was just my own little thing. Although, one night it wasn't there. I looked outside like every 10 minutes to see if it would reappear, but it didn't. And then I got sad and demanded to sleep with my dad. My dad asked why, and I told him it was because my friend wasn't there. He was so tired that he just went to sleep, but I didn't. And when I looked outside his window, I saw it. Closer. Way closer. And it was staring at me, and this time I knew it wasn't a balloon. After that night, I would actually see it floating around our house, but only at night. And for so many years, I thought I was just imagining it. Until now.
Ah, yes. Our favorite time of the show. Sponsor time. I'm gonna let Hush Puppy take it from here and tell you about his channel. But you have to promise me, no visiting his channel until you've at least finished this video first. I mean, how rude is it to just leave in the middle of a video? Seriously, promise me. Do it now. No, not later, not I'll do what I can. I need to know that you won't leave me. Okay, well, I guess here's Hush Puppy.
Salutations, good people. I'm the Scottish Hush Puppy, and salutations to all you good people over there at Spookyou, all the subscribers, listeners, and even you, Barnabas. And before I tell you who I am, I want to give a sincere thank you to everybody at the channel for allowing me to be your sponsor for the Frightening Nights of Halloween series that's going to be taking place on October the 18th. So make sure you're subscribed. Do not miss that, because if you're anything like me, you love a good spooky story, and what better place than the YouTube channel you're watching right now. Now, what is a Scottish Hush Puppy, and what does it do? Well, over at our channel, we do a lot of live streams. We stream a lot of horror games, especially through the month of October, and we stream a variety of games when it's not October. And we love to have people watch us live, and we want to provide a family-friendly environment for anybody, absolutely anybody, to come in, hang out, and make it feel more like a casual hangout than a live stream. Because usually everybody in the chat, they're all friends, and we can't wait to see you in one of our live streams in the upcoming foreseeable future. So, that being said, I just might be narrating one of these Frightening Nights stories. And of course, all this is leading up to the big live stream on Halloween itself. And I might be popping up there as well. So don't miss it. Hit subscribe on that Spookyou button. Annihilate it. And until next time, I've been the Scottish Hush Puppy, and I got some food to go eat.
Oh, good. You're still here. You are still here, aren't you? It's kind of hard to see through the glare on your screen. Turn your brightness down. No, a little bit. No, just please. Forget it. I'm sure you're still hanging on. Let's get back to the story.
So I posted this in another thread before, but here it is again. I've had sleep paralysis more times than I can count, and there are periods it happens more frequently and more intensely. But this is the worst, or I guess maybe most amazing experience I've ever had. My apologies for the length. I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and we were in bed asleep when I was abruptly woken up by my girlfriend, who was in a state of terror. She told me she awoke to what sounded like someone in our living room moving around, and that she simply felt a sense of terror. And I too was shaken by this, as I had been going through a difficult period of frequent sleep paralysis, but not wanting to scare my girlfriend any more than she already was, I remained calm and told her that I would get out of bed to go look around. Now, I was rattled because, honestly, it was very unlike her to get worked up like this, because we lived on the second floor in a large apartment complex in a very safe area. I looked and there was nothing out of the ordinary, so I got back into bed and reassured her that all was well. I'd left the kitchen light on for the sense of security it gave me, and the way our bedroom was set up was that if I laid on my side facing out, I was right in line with the bedroom door, which looked out into the kitchen. It's a small one-bedroom apartment. As I was laying there trying to go back to sleep, I opened my eyes and saw a shadow, weak in the light of the kitchen, flit right across the cupboards, along one wall, first one way, then right back the other. This straight up scared the crap out of me, but since my girlfriend was still worked up, I forced down the terror I could feel creeping up from deep inside myself. I prayed in my mind for a peace, and eventually I was able to fall asleep. I awoke what couldn't have been very long after on my side and unable to move. My line of sight gave me a direct view of the bottom half of the door and the floor because of how my head was positioned. And in the doorway there were two legs wearing what looked to be dark dress pants and dress shoes. I was terrified and was fighting for all I was worth to break out of this sleep paralysis. The figure moved towards me and reached out a hand. It was black, but not black like African, but it was black like a gray black with slightly long pointed fingernails. It put its hand around my throat and began to squeeze, and I can remember so vividly the feeling of its nails pressing into my skin until I felt a warm liquid run down my neck, and it lowered itself down, giving me my first view of what it looked like. It was wearing a fedora. Its face was the same gray-black as its hand, with black eyes and a sadistic smile full of pointed teeth on its face. Now, during all this, I was, of course, more terrified than I had ever been in my life, and to be honest, I can't remember what was going through my head beyond terror or how long this took, but all of a sudden I was able to see my girlfriend's sleeping form behind me, and rising right up through the bed and through her was a woman, a truly beautiful, ageless woman with white blonde hair to just below her jawline. She was wearing what looked to me to be a sort of, I guess, a white robe, and she was smiling at me with a look of compassion and love on her face. She reached out her hand and placed it over the Hat Man's hand around my throat, and the very instant she touched its hand, it was gone. She kept her hand on my throat gently, and somehow I knew that she was undoing anything that had been done by the creature. I don't know how long she was there, but her presence was so comforting and full of love that I felt safe, and any lingering terror, well, it quickly evaporated. I fell back asleep with her still beside me and her hand upon me. I'm not sure how long after I woke up, but I remembered everything that happened vividly. I told my girlfriend everything in the morning, and she told me that she too had seen the shadow flit across the cupboards, but that she just prayed and convinced herself it was just her eyes playing tricks on her and a result of her shaken state. After that, I never experienced sleep paralysis in that apartment, and I believe that it was a guardian angel or something like that had come to help me in the presence of something so evil. I also considered that it had somehow to do with my girlfriend, who loved me fiercely and was very protective of me despite me being the stronger of the two of us and the man. Whatever its origins, I will never forget the feeling of love and peace that this angel, spirit, whatever it was, brought to me, and I never will. Has anyone else ever experienced anything like this?
Oh, is it time for the outro already? But it feels as if we've only just started. Well, don't despair, my darling deviants, because we've still got plenty of nights left in our frightening nights of Halloween. We'll be back tomorrow night with another twisted tale. And don't forget about our All Hallows Eve bash on Halloween Day. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell so that you're notified the moment our next Frightening Nights video is uploaded and ready for your viewing pleasure. Oh, and leave a like on this video because it helps us to feel better about ourselves and keep our loved ones from nagging us to get an actual job. It really is the little things that make a difference. Besides, there isn't much in the way of jobs for a 2-foot-tall green monster, so I really need this. Do you know how many years I spent as a garbage disposal? Anyways, I'd like to take one final moment to thank the Scottish Hush Puppy for his support in making this series a reality. Make sure you go and show him some love over on his channel by subscribing and let him know that Spookyou sent you. I suppose that wraps up our show for tonight, but we always have our catalog of terrifying stories to keep you company while you wait for tomorrow's episode. And if you've waited and you're binging our Frightening Night series, well, happy binging. I'll see you in just a few seconds. Oh, until next time, my ghastly gang, stay spooky.